Thank you so much for joining me for this short little webinar on things I should know about SSI. SSI stands for Supplemental Security Income, and you get that through the Social Security office. One of the things you need to know is that you want to make sure you have as much medical evidence as possible. So think back and get a list together of all of the doctors and contact information that your loved one has ever seen. The Social Security office is going to contact each one of those doctors' offices, and you want them to have as much medical evidence as possible to show what that disability is, what makes it so hard for that person to be able to have a full-time job and support themselves. Sometimes Social Security will require that the person see their vocational rehab specialist. That's okay. Just be prepared if there's a denial based on medical eligibility that that's not the end of the line. We may need to go back and appeal that decision. We may need to just provide more written evidence from the school system or their counselor or somebody else who sees them and really understands what some of those limitations might be. The other thing is, if you find out later that you had assets that you forgot to report and it put the person over the limit, you're going to get a letter at some point saying that they were over assets, or you need to self-report if you've learned that by yourself and realized they were over the $2,000 asset eligibility limit. Sometimes that means you have to pay back some of the SSI benefits that were received. But perhaps a little known fact is that if they are now eligible again, because they're still disabled and they're below the asset limit and below the income limit, you can simply request that they take out a certain amount of money each month from the check going forward. Right now, under the federal rules, they can't take out more than 10% of the maximum SSI payment. So in 2018, the maximum payment is $750. So they shouldn't be able to deduct more than $75 each month going forward before they're able to take out the full amount of that overpayment that is owed back to them. So don't freak out when you get a letter that says you owe back $3,000. There's usually a solution, and that's a fairly painless one. So just make sure you report everything you need to report. If you get a denial on the application, know that you can ask for a reconsideration. Thanks so much for listening.